Hello, I'm Veeraraghavan, and in this talk, I will share about how purpose-built platforms can accelerate software delivery. The speed of software delivery matters. The potential revenue that can be earned by delivering the right feature at the right time can be the differentiator to set a product apart from the competition. Decreasing the cost of delay has a direct correlation to market performance and longer-term sustained growth. In some cases, research has shown that in some industries, there can be a drop of 5 to 10% of market share in 6 months if a product is delayed and a similar product is launched by a competitor in the same industry. So, how can platforms help? Platforms function as enablers. They are enablers for faster delivery of software, empowering developers with self-service continuous integration tooling makes it faster for them to go from commit to deploy with good quality practices. Having well-vetted reusable components allow them to build products faster and hence reduces the lead time or the time from definition to delivery. And finally, policy guardrails and gating allow teams to deliver compliance and security as features instead of an afterthought, which means secure releases happen rapidly. Rapid releases means delighting your customers with newer features. So, what are purpose built platforms? Let's define this. So, by definition, a purpose built platform is designed and developed specifically to meet the unique needs and challenges of a particular industry, a business, or a project, rather than just being a generic solution. So there's a few criteria or a few characteristics that I believe define a purpose-built platform. They should be flexible to build a wide variety of features and adaptable to the needs of the developer as well as the business, which means it has to have improved adaptability. It is a strategic investment that codifies all of the best practices within the company so all developers can deliver with speed. This also means efficiency, by the way. Cost optimization should be a feature, and reduced complexity is essential. You cannot increase the cognitive load on a developer and reduce the time to market. And finally, purpose built platforms should become products that enable innovation and hence should no longer be considered or viewed only as cost centers. If you look at the last decade, Walmart, Netflix, and others have built such platforms. And now there are platforms built for construction tech as well as the newest payment platforms that are coming up. So this is not an unheard phenomenon. Let's jump into two specific examples from my past life that I want to talk about. First one is Walmart. I joined Walmart in 2017, and at that time, teams did not have a single path to production. The CI tooling was fragmented. People were using Jenkins, some folks were using Enterprise Jenkins, some folks were using tools that they built themselves. And so CI tooling that was fragmented did not also have a central orchestration framework which allowed people to do CD well. It means that each team depended on tribal knowledge or knowledge that only their own team knew to get onboarded and up to speed on delivering the latest app to production. After continued investments and improvements for 3 years, our team delivered what we called an irresistible developer experience. We had opinionated pipelines that codified the best practices for Walmart. We had configuration that coexisted with code modules with all the benefits of tracking and versioning. The most significant improvement was a central CI/CD orchestration tool that allowed teams to deploy the services directly to a managed Kubernetes cluster. And that is what is Walmart Cloud Native Platform. It was a triplet model with three different clouds, the Walmart Data Center, Azure Cloud, as well as GCP. Observability and reliability were all burnt in. The security and the quality gating was shifted left to be a part of the CI pipeline. So devs could get signals very early on security and quality and fix issues early. What we enabled was that we could do code to prod ready in less than 60 minutes. Any ideas could be delivered to customers on the same day if we wanted to. A high quality product delivered using a modern, scalable platform like Kubernetes reduced the friction for innovation and allowed more than 18 to 20,000 developers to deliver every single day. This empowered a Fortune 1 company like Walmart to really push the envelope against a big competitor in the e-commerce space like Amazon. The second example that I want to share is from my time at Bill, or Bill.com as it was previously known. The biggest challenge for new engineers who would join the company was the time that it took for them to become productive and contribute new applications into the stack. In some cases, it was taking more than 6 to 8 weeks, and it didn't really matter how senior or how junior you were, because in order to get working code sometimes delivered into production, there was a lot of knowledge that was housed in folks that currently were a single point of failure. So our enablement work was to focus on the most painful steps that caused friction for the devs, not just in onboarding, but also in the day to day. So we invested by simplifying onboarding by one, automating the most common tasks, the tasks that do not require any input or any change of environment from them. We sped up the CI so people could get signals faster from CI. And we created a quality process that calls out the most critical issues in customer quality early so we know before the customer tells us. And we created a rich framework that allowed teams to scaffold and to launch new applications quickly. And that framework we would improve over time by getting feedback and reviews and things like that. We also did another thing, which is to do a show and tell of all of the tools that were developed by the developer experience teams to focus on enablement. And by getting those that feedback every week or every other week, we were able to improve our offerings. This meant that after 2 years, we were able to have every new developer that could check in code on day one, right? If they knew what they were doing, obviously we wanted to make sure that they are also not just pushing code that is not reviewed and not working right. But if they knew what they were doing, they could check in code on day one. The largest monolith code, right, which was still a not converted into microservices, was really taking a long time to build. With all the improvements that we did, going from and to Gradle, and then making sure use of the Gradle cache and things like that for local builds, we were able to get a less than 3-minute CI time for the largest monolith, including all of the tests that were added, all of the unit tests, which is about 2K plus. And by doing this, we were able to give back signals very quickly to the devs. Devs also had the ability to create and to destroy ephemeral workspaces within the cloud that they could use to simulate a real world end-to-end Build.com product. And that meant that they could create a new environment, test it, test their features within it, and then destroy it if it's not useful right on the same day within 24 hours. And that allowed teams to do a lot of innovation very quickly. New ideas that were generated could potentially see customer engagement within 1 week. If we were ready to launch and the product manager was happy with the kind of work that is done, stakeholders could approve that feature to go out the next week. This were the two case studies that I wanted to share. What I want to do now is jump a little bit into actionable steps that you as leaders can take for your own organization and do this in a similar way. So some actions. Let's think about what your organization is doing today. The first step that you have to do is assess, honestly assess the maturity of the platform offering in your organization. If it is not empowering the developers, then there has to be a change. How do you improve the life of a developer so that they can deliver better outcomes for the business? What rituals are they engaged in that can potentially be codified or automated or eliminated entirely from the day to day? If they are slowing down delivery, those rituals are meaningless. You have to measure the cost of delay that happens currently due to the slowness and the lack of enablement. And this could potentially be things like measuring cognitive load, measuring the context switch penalties, how many context switches happen, how many multiple projects is each developer handling at any given time. You should also focus on something very important when we start building a platform. A lot of folks think about, let's build it and then eventually there'll be adoption. And that is a mistake. You have to only build when you know that the business can benefit from it. And that means you have to regularly validate against business outcomes. If you do not have that validation and you do not have the stakeholder input, then we will not see the success that you want. At the end, I'll mention this comment, which is delivery enablement is really the goal. When you look at it from a company perspective, and I'll take both Walmart as well as Bill.com's example here, the goal here, even though the success was immediately seen by the developer, it empowered them to be able to do more to help their customer get features faster and to make their lives easier and to delight them and to provide that level of user experience innovation to them. Delivery enablement and customer delight is the goal. If you fail at those, any platforms or any platform engineering becomes worthless, and it is completely possible that they just become another sinkhole for engineering waste. I'm going to leave you at that, and I appreciate the time that you have spent with me. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I can be reached via LinkedIn. I'm happy to answer any questions in the chat as well. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you enjoy the rest of PlatformCon.